Welcome to your new home of meaningful, elevated, and authentic conversations on this digital space. This is What's Your Story Africa with me, Catherine Mwangi. We're here for the love of co-creating, connecting, and serving humanity through the impeccable power of storytelling. When you think about it, everyone has a story. When you think further, every little thing is a story. We've discovered that it's just really about the autonomy and expression of releasing impact, sharing vision, collaborating to bring our stories to life.
When I was about 18, my youngest sister died, and I was with her. She was crushed by a motorbike, and that left a deep, deep, deep trauma within me. She was like my little baby, and losing her. So I kind of shut down. I used to get migraines every once a week, and I was on strong painkillers, and nothing was helping. No medical doctor could help. They just say we have to take medication to just manage it. My back was giving up, right from the base of my skull down to the tailbone.
Wow.
And my left hand had almost stopped working. So I resigned from my job.
This is What's Your Story Africa. My name is Catherine Mwangi. Thank you for tuning in to yet another episode this week. We aim to have meaningful, authentic, and elevated conversations. Today is no different. Our guest is Miss Kinneri Parekh. She has been on this journey of clinical hypnotherapy, and I have to read for you all she's about because it's a lot, it's expanded, and it's absolutely beautiful. She's an integrated clinical hypnotherapist, a transpersonal regression therapist, a trainer of integrated clinical hypnotherapy, a practitioner of metaphysical anatomy. I'm so interested in that, by the way. Advanced life coach, counselor, and Reiki Master. You're welcome to this podcast, ma'am.
Thank you.
Are you well? You look so good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm very well.
Yeah. Have you had your morning poison today? I had my producer call it poison.
Poison is poison, of course.
Yeah.
But as I was telling her that it's nice to wake up feeling more healthy.
Yes.
Not only in the body, but
Yes.
in the mind as well. Yeah.
So what do you put first? Is it the mind? Of course, I would imagine because the meditations, they're just getting to that stillness, that quietness, isn't it?
So my mantra for morning is that when I wake up, I don't just jump out of bed.
Okay.
I sit for a couple of minutes. And the most important thing to do is to bring back myself. Because you know that when we go to sleep, we dream, right?
Yes.
So when we dream, where are we going?
Dreamland?
A little beyond, right?
Okay.
So we don't want to leave ourselves there. I take a couple of minutes, integrate and bring back myself, and then slowly I wake up.
Integrate, bring back yourself. So what does that involve? Like,
It's a feeling.
It's a feeling. Okay.
It's a feeling. And you can feel it because like when you wake up, like you're almost in a very trance-like state.
Yes.
You're kind of in an alpha state when you just open your eyes, right? You're not quite awake. So now imagine you wake up like that.
Yeah.
You are going to scatter yourself. So just taking a couple of minutes and I tell myself that bring back all my bodies and personalities, bring back all my energy. And then the first thing I do is put my 2 feet on the ground. Wherever I
grounding.
am, on the carpet, whatever. So just grounding myself, which means I'm stationed and centered in myself. And then I get up.
Everything has meaning.
Everything has meaning.
I like that. And that's why your story is so compelling to me, because the last 2 years I've also been studying, it's been very, what's the word, that word, TUMUL?
Tumor.
That one.
Yeah.
Just very all over the place, not just at a personal level, but also, national level. It's no secret what's happening in this country. And so to balance all of those things, I had to look for answers. Okay, how do we just kill the noise and bring back who we really are?
Absolutely.
Outside of what the titles are, what it is we do. So when I read your profile, I said, what a great conversation to start the year. But before we do that, let's look back. What was your 2024 like?
Many challenges.
Yes.
But very rewarding, because I am a big fan of working on the self. And what it means is just understanding me through my mind, because it's in the mind that everything starts.
Yes.
Who we are is the mind, really.
Yes.
So working on myself, my thoughts, my perceptions, my judgments, and how I believe about life, and then my behavior. Mm-hmm. So I work at all levels, and I constantly reflect, because there are challenges, there are experiences. Yes. Nothing is out of, like, within my comfort zone, sorry. Yes. So I do reflect that, yes, if this experiences were to teach me something, what would it teach me? And one of the biggest things I learned is that every time something happens, I criticize myself, I judge myself, and then I'm thinking, like, have I done something wrong? And then I sit quietly, and one of my practices has been deep meditation. So in that reflective moments, I have actually understood that how I think has so much impact on my life.
So what you're telling us is about the inner voice.
Inner voice.
I also realized that we beat ourselves more than other people beat us. And because of that, it's almost like we're giving the universe permission to beat us as well.
Absolutely, because our behavior will be dictated by that. So is that the true behavior, or is this the true person that I'm supposed to be? Right. Or am I coping with what circumstances are just giving me?
Yeah. Do you want to give us a few examples of how you would condemn or judge yourself? Because I know that would also resonate with a lot of people. And women, I think, we suffer from this the most, is it? I don't have the statistics, but...
most women do, because, I mean, we're living in a very patriarchal society, and we are dominated in a way, and we do feel inferior. And my story also starts from there, because I am born to a family where we are only 2 sisters. We were 4, and then 2 passed on. So we're 2. So we were all girls in a family. My father, my mother, and 4 girls. So I'm the eldest of them. And so there was so much expectation to live out to what they wanted me to. And so my journey actually started with that. I couldn't be who I am. And that has dictated pretty much how I felt about myself. Inferior, less than, not good enough, because I have to live up to and prove what my other extended family members are feeling, and what my father is feeling. And so that has been a huge, huge realization as well, that I could never live my authentic life. I could never live what I wanted to. And failure was not allowed, because I'm a girl. And then many beliefs that we also, I was just the other day, I was telling my mom that imagine how our mothers also tell us that, you know, when men are there, we have to serve men. We have to do things for men, including my mother. So these are the beliefs and conditioning that I have been brought up with, that men are superior, we are subservient, and we have to sacrifice. And we shouldn't, because we are equal. We are humans more than what we are as a gender. But we allow ourselves that, and my whole life actually has been dictated by that. The kind of a career I was supposed to be in, what I wanted to do, and what I ended up doing was 2 different things. And so when I shelved everything and came into clinical hypnotherapy, that's when I started understanding myself, my emotions, how I believed the world around me, and what happened to me. And then I started slowly changing everything, thinking differently about myself, putting myself a little bit first in the beginning, and now I do take care of myself.
So what did you want to do, and what did you end up doing because of that conditioning?
So I was very creative, and I wanted to do beauty therapy. I was only about 16, 17 at that time. I'd finished O-levels, and I told my father that this is what I want to do as a career, and he says, that is not acceptable, because we have to show the family. You can't be anything except an accountant, or something that is more business-like, because that is academic. You can't do anything creative. I loved dancing, he stopped me. I loved anything creative, he stopped me because I was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And then I ended up doing accounting, and it's something I was good at.
Yeah.
Yes, I was good at maths, but I did not like it.
You didn't enjoy it.
And then I ended up becoming an HR professional.
Okay.
That wasn't really my choice of career,
Yeah.
but it helped me actually connect to people. And that was one of the good things. But the stress that took over, oh my God. I went through a lot of physical issues, and that was the turning point in my life.
Okay.
Emotionally, I was a wreck. I was so frightened, fearful, not confident. My self-esteem was all-time low.
What happened?
And I was just not happy within myself. And then it started manifesting in my body. And I used to get migraines every once a week. And I was on strong painkillers. And nothing was helping. No medical doctor could help. They just said we have to take medication to just manage it. My back was giving up, right from the base of my skull down to the tailbone.
Wow.
And my left hand had almost stopped working. And then I said, no, this is not good. Then how long am I going to go on?
Yeah.
So I resigned from my job because I needed to take time out.
So wait, how long were you at this job, HR?
About 14 years.
Okay.
And of course, slowly the stress was piling up because
Yeah.
I did like my job, I was just stressed.
So you had, okay, so let me see. So you had this standard and expectation that you needed to live up to on the family front. And your dad said, you're not doing anything art. We have to, do these important jobs or courses. And then for you going there every day started to become this monotony, and it was hurting inside.
It was so disheartening completely.
Yeah.
And I carried on because I had to fulfill obligations. I had to run a life. I was married. I was doing so much more than I should have.
Yeah.
And this was taking a toll on me. And one fine day I just said, this is
enough. Is enough.
Because there was no medical report or medical assistance for what I was going through.
Yeah.
They couldn't find out. I did physiotherapy for over a year. And that was it.
Yeah.
Like I was managing it, but I was not finding a cure.
Symptomatic, but not the root.
And then I started seeking alternative routes. And that's the time when the whole genre of self-help had come out, The Secret. And I read and read and read, thinking that there's an answer. And the one thing that I actually got struck with was the subconscious mind.
Yes.
And yes, these books were very good, but they didn't give me the way to help myself.
But hold on, before we go there.
Yes.
The day you left, you said enough is enough. What was your parents' reaction or your husband's reaction? Who is here, by the way?
He's very helpful, and he said, doesn't matter, take time out, maybe we'll figure out what to do. But at the same time, there was worry that how I was going to manage my financial obligations. Yes. But I was determined. And I said, I have to find an answer to my life first.
Yes.
And so I sat at home for a few months.
Yeah.
And all I was doing was meditating and reading. And then somebody suggested that, why don't you go to psychology? Maybe there's an answer there that you're looking for.
Yeah.
And I actually graduated. I did a course for about less than a year. And I did a higher diploma and I graduated. It did give me a little bit, and this was around the Westgate attacks.
Okay.
So I decided, okay, let me try out by helping others. Maybe I'm also helping a part of me. But I found out that these people were coming to me week on week with the same issue, and we were going round and round and round, but they were not healing.
Right.
So I thought, no, this is not the way forward for trauma, because I also went through my own trauma.
Yeah.
My physical issues hadn't improved drastically, even though I had done counseling. And then I went into this new age neuro-linguistic programming. And there I found value. It's quite interesting because their approach was very different. Their approach was looking at the mind, and that intrigued me. But that also left a gap, wasn't quite what I was looking for.
Okay.
And then funny enough, well, I guess my prayers were answered.
Yeah.
And this guy was coming to town, and he was a world-renowned hypnotherapist.
Okay.
And so we had just traveled, and my husband goes, we don't have money to do your courses anymore. I said, no, let me just go for this one level.
Yeah.
It was 2 days.
Yeah.
And let me see how I feel. But I feel so pulled
To this.
And honestly, when I sat there in that class, the first hour, I knew I was home.
Yeah.
I knew this is what I was looking for, because the way he explained the mind, I could join the dots of what was happening to me. And from then on, of course, the journey has been ongoing. But what happened to me was, these are kind of courses where you learn the theory and then there's practice.
I see.
So in that practice, something unfolded, my deepest trauma unfolded. And because it's the subconscious mind. And what I realized is that here is a part of us that is so powerful. We do not know anything about it. And yet it controls our entire life. What happened to me was, when I unfolded what was happening to me deep within me in my emotional state, I was able to release it. The moment I released it, literally within 3 months, my migraines had disappeared. And to date, I don't even get a headache, leave alone migraines.
So when you say your deepest trauma unfolded, could you just expand that a bit for us? Yeah.
So what had happened is, when I was about 18, my youngest sister died. And I was with her. She was crushed by a motorbike. And that left a deep, deep, deep trauma within me. She was like my little baby, and losing her. So I kind of shut down. And life from then on was just an internal conflict. I was never happy. As it is, things were happened. I was the eldest. I had to be a role model, and all these expectations were there. That was all just piling up in my subconscious, but this trauma took over. And the moment I released it, it was almost after 30 years that I actually faced it again, because it was so deeply repressed. And this is one thing that was controlling my life, the fear. And the moment I released it, I was not the same person again.
So did you have a personal fear of death?
I did not have a fear
pain?
of death. I had a fear of something happening. So I was always careful.
And it stemmed from the passing on of your baby sister. How did you then end up discovering that?
So what we did was, like I said, here was a course where we learned the theory and then we practiced, because we taught. So what we learned is hypnosis. And hypnosis means going into an altered state of trance to access the subconscious mind. And like I say, the subconscious mind is the most powerful part of us. It holds an account of every memory, every experience, every feeling we've had. And those feelings are bottled in our body, and the mind and the body.
Yeah.
And so what I was holding was the trauma of many things. And so the moment I opened that Pandora's box, I started healing. It was unbelievable. And within just a few months, not only was my migraines healed, my back started resolving itself. I did not do anything. This was something that was so powerful for me. And I said, if this is what can help somebody, because our mind and body are connected, this is the route to go now.
Correct me if I'm wrong. What I'm hearing is that deep-seated trauma that we can be unaware of attaches itself to our body organs, and our body starts to fail, and we think it's just a medical condition. but it's a cry, it's something going on in there.
What is the problem is the emotions.
The emotions.
When we do not address emotions, the emotions will find a place. And many of us, we don't know how to address emotions we feel. We feel angry, we feel sad, we feel happy, we feel traumatized,
feel tired,
we feel angry, we feel disappointed. So if we don't address it, where does it go? That's the secret of understanding how to heal ourselves. When we understand how we feel, we'll be able to address it. And then those feelings, those emotions have no control over us. Because what the subconscious mind does is, it's a storehouse. But what happens is, if we don't address it, it's repressed, it will get triggered over and over and over. And then we keep coping with life, because life is only handing us those similar experiences that are getting triggered. So we are coping over and over. The day we handle our emotions, we understand them and they no longer control us, it means we don't need to cope with that.
Right.
We can breathe.
Yeah.
We can feel at ease.
So for you, when a challenge presents itself, say today, knowing, what you know now, how do you prevent, if that's the right word, or how do you just handle the challenge? Let's just...
So, of course, we all feel, and this is human to feel. So I feel, but I don't let that feeling go into me. And so how I do that, let me just explain a little bit. I don't know if you know anything about the mind. That might just open something.
Yes.
So
the states, at least.
What do we know about the mind? We all think that the mind is the brain. Like it's here.
Yeah.
But the mind is not that. This is hardware. Mind is an energy. Like, say, we can touch our head. Can we touch our thoughts? But our thoughts come from our mind, right? It's like a computer. So if you have a laptop or a PC, you can have it. Even if you switch on, it's not going to do nothing.
Right.
Until we have a software program running it, right?
Right.
So we switch on and we have applications. And those applications we open to run the computer.
Right.
Similarly, this is the hardware. And the mind is the software which is inputting to our thoughts and our feelings and our beliefs and our conditioning, right? To make us the person we are. So now accessing that mind is the most important thing. So what happens is, say, today I feel angry. Maybe something's happened and it's really triggered me and I feel very angry. And I've not done anything about it. Now I go to sleep at night. And that feeling is still lingering. It hasn't gone anywhere. It will filter into the subconscious mind when we go to sleep, because our conscious mind goes to sleep. If our subconscious mind, which is our most powerful part, goes to sleep, we are dead. Because this is the subconscious mind that runs our system, our body, our mind. Everything we are is our subconscious mind, not the conscious. The conscious is only 5% of what we know about ourselves. The 95% is below the iceberg. Below the surface. Right? And that is the mind that controls everything. Now when we go to sleep at night, it goes inside.
Because you didn't deal with it.
Because we haven't dealt with it. And then it festers because we haven't dealt with it. And it's almost like 6,000 times more powerful than anything we know about ourselves.
6,000 times.
Correct. So what I do is, at night, this is my practice, and this has been that I go to sleep, before I go to sleep at night, I will reflect on the day. What happened? And I don't judge myself now. I don't beat myself, because this is what we are used to. I reflect on what happened to me, why it happened to me. And if it's to do with a person or a situation, I will in my mind let it go. Maybe forgive, maybe let it go, that it's okay, it happened. And I let that anger go, like I breathe it out, or I'll just sort of energetically let it go from my space, so that I don't sleep with it. If I don't sleep with it, then my emotion doesn't go into my mind and body, and then it doesn't trigger me. And so that's the route to not letting emotions control us.
Yes. Where is the place of the heart in all of this? Because, we have this saying, could be cliche, that, you just store so much in your heart, you need to let go, don't keep grudges. So where's the heart in all of this?
Of course, the heart exists, but heart is energy as well. So I don't know if you know anything about the chakras or energy vortices.
The seven,
yes.
Very basic. Let me not as deep as you.
So the chakras or our energy vortices are our connection between the universal energy and our body.
Yes.
Like the chakras are in between, which means that the universal energy that we are receiving will pass through the chakras to manifest in the body, right? So when we talk of the heart is about receiving and giving.
Right.
Love and acceptance.
Yes.
How many of us know love and acceptance, really? So when we say we are holding everything in the heart, truly, because we're not loving and accepting ourselves first. We don't do that. We don't even know how to do that. We're not taught to do that.
Yeah.
And so when this heart chakra is blocked, this is where it affects us. This is where the heaviness comes. This is where the pain comes.
Right.
And then we say, it's all in my heart. I can't get it out of my heart. I just feel that pain in my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's blockages.
There's blockages. So it's the chakras are the interface between the energy that we receive and how it allows our body to function. Yeah.
So the energy that you receive. So for example, and I've been in spaces where, you're either having, you're sharing a meal with someone and they say, oh, that person just has the energy is off, someone, and I'm like, you're judging this person. How do you know their energy is off? That's just something about them. Like the judgment of this world. So, and I never go into that because I will not talk about someone I don't know, for example. That's a whole stranger, but someone seems to feel that the energy is off. Energy doesn't lie. I can respect that. But the energy we receive, I want us to explore that in a way where what happens to, why do we receive it though? Why are we open to receive energies? Because I would imagine anything needs permission for me to feel or think about it. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Yes.
So imagine that we live in a universe where there's so much nature connection, right? And everything is first energy. Why are we attracted to energy? I mean, the nature, because it is giving us so much peace and love and calmness, right? And this is the universal energy. We are all energy before we are physical beings. Our aura, what you talked about, that, we can sense each other.
Yeah.
We are energy before we are physical beings. So we sense each other like we're talking today, but there is a connection.
Yes.
Energy connection here. So how we sense each other also comes from here. And if we didn't have that, imagine how disconnected we would be. That is why when we go to nature, how connected and how calm and how peaceful we feel.
Yeah.
But what disconnects us and what separates us is our own judgment of ourselves first and the world around us.
Right.
So energy plays a huge role in connecting us. If we didn't have that, wow, I don't know what the world would be like.
Yeah.
So it's coming back to that nature that we are, the humans that we are. And without that energy, we wouldn't know. So the moment we are connected to that, we are receiving. Because if we don't, all our chakras will be blocked. Because we are all emotional, first of all. How will we sort ourselves? So when people do chakra healing or breath work or anything, what are we trying to do is unblock what it is so that we receive, and our vortices are then revolving or rotating as they should.
Yeah.
Right? If they don't, then we will be in serious trouble.
Yeah.
We'll be sick, we'll be emotionally entangled, we'll be a mess.
Yeah.
So what this universal energy does is it powers us in a way, if that makes sense.
No, it does.
If it is like a fuel
Yeah.
in a way.
Do we have control over can we choose what to receive?
Not really.
Okay.
But we breathe in, like we say, positivity, because nature is positive. What entangles us is our emotions.
Yes. Yes, I see what you mean. So
how we perceive about life,
yes,
what we start believing, that belief becomes our behavior, our habits, and then our personality.
Yeah.
And that's not really truly authentically us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Earlier you said that when you just left your job and you said enough is enough, you are trying to now put yourself at, first. Obviously that wasn't easy because especially as a firstborn, you carry the weight of your family and that expectation. I call it firstborn something syndrome, where you feel now it's either bestowed on you, and if it's not, then you feel this. It's like firstborns are born with that thing. Maybe there's a blockage somewhere, but you left and decided to just find your way into what is let me just first even sit at home and just figure me out. And that's the time you mentioned again. I'm taking you back to when The Secret had just come out, and all these teachers were, we were exposed to all of these teachers and their methods and practices. And you mentioned that didn't quite do it for you. What was missing?
Finding me. Like I was understanding, but I was not able to access that part of me.
So the connection and the resonance was missing.
And so what hypnotherapy did was, again, going in an altered state to access that subconscious mind where everything was stored. The moment I was able to understand my emotions through my experiences, I was able to let it go.
Yeah.
That's the key to it. Healing means allowing ourselves to feel those emotions once more and then letting it go. Because I got the clarity, why did this happen to me?
Yeah.
And then understanding why it happened, it no longer controlled me. I was able to let it go, which means I made room for better choices, something that was me.
Yes.
And changing even my beliefs, because my beliefs was, I'm the eldest, I can't do anything wrong. If I do, I feel super guilty. I have to be a role model. So I'm putting myself last. I've done everything. I've tried to prove myself over and over.
Yeah.
And that hurt my body as well. So the moment I resolved my emotional stress, my body was able to relax.
Yeah.
And then I was able to breathe into it.
A very special thank you to our partners and friends at Hello Tractor, based here in Nairobi, Kenya. Hello Tractor is an ag-tech company that connects farmers and tractor owners with access to mechanization and fleet management services. To learn more, get in touch by visiting their website at hellotractor.com or email them at hello@hellotractor.com. So what I'm getting also from this Kinneri is because it wasn't coming, the things you were doing were birthed from an inauthentic place. It's where you felt I have to, like an obligation. Yes, that's what I was looking for. It was an obligation. I have to be this, I have to do this, and then the day you decided to choose yourself by resigning from your job, and you didn't know where the next thing was going to come from, but you just said enough. And I think that turning point is where, you can easily correct me, where most of us miss it. We struggle with something to the end. And I've seen it also in my own family, where it's easy to say, no, you don't need to do that anymore. But because it's so ingrained and conditioned and programmed, you get to a certain age, in the case of our parents, and they say, even if I was to get better now, in the next 10 years, I'll be dead. So hey, if I've lived this last 60 years like this, what's 10? You know? And so for people watching or listening who feel, what am I doing this for? Not knowing that doing it could actually expand and give them richer lives. What would you say to them? And we are not winding up, so it's just, just tying up to.
We have never allowed ourselves to be means, do we love ourselves? Do we feel for ourselves? If we did even a little, then we'd be kind to ourselves.
Yeah.
But we're never kind to ourselves. We're never accepting ourselves. Either we are fighting or we are running. And like you said, you know, when we resign to fate and we say, what's the point? I don't know if you believe in something called death, that what happens at death? Imagine that you resigned from life and you die. What do you think your spirit is going to ask you? It's going to reflect, like we say, a day of judgment. But it's not a day of judgment. It's a day of reflection. Your soul will reflect, what did I do? And how will the soul feel? It will feel miserable.
Yeah.
That if I had a choice and I could have done something, what could I have done? Because when you die, you don't take the whole world with you, you take yourself, right? So who's the most important? And I'm not saying that we don't have to live in the world.
Yeah.
I'm saying that we can be kind to the whole world and we try to be generous. We try to be better for the whole world, but not for ourselves. Yet we are the most important person to ourselves. So my message to everybody who I also help today is first focus on you. It's not about not doing everything. It's about allowing yourself to know you, allowing yourself to feel you. Because you are the one feeling and nobody else is feeling it for you. So why don't we do that? Because we are conditioned.
Yeah.
We are so conditioned to look outside of us and not within. We're so conditioned from the time we are born. Because our parents, our upbringing, our schools, our teachers, our peers, our elders, our ancestors, everything, our religion, everything plays a role in who we become.
Yeah.
And so we're taught to look outside and not within. And yet, when we're born, we have this innate wisdom. We forget that. We had that faith when we were born. We knew that if I cry, my mother will feed me. If I cry, she will change me. She'll play with me. Did we have the faith?
Yes.
But as we grow up and we are conditioned, we forget that faith. And we stop trusting ourselves. We stop focusing because babies only focus on themselves.
Yeah.
Of course, they are highly selfish in a way, but they're supposed to be. But even as growing up, we're not supposed to be selfish, but self-caring.
Self-caring.
That we matter first.
Yeah. What does loving myself look like?
For me, it is giving myself that attention. Not just showing myself external love, but even just if this is what I want, and I feel this is right, it is right. If I feel that I need time out and I want to sit for 1 hour and do nothing, I am not beating myself up. If I feel that today I want to wake up a little late, I'm not going to be conditioned by these beliefs that waking up late is bad and we're going to waste time. I allow myself to be is the love that I give myself.
I like that.
If I feel something, I'm okay with it.
Yes.
And I don't judge myself. If I say something wrong and it happened, I'm not going to beat myself up and I'm not going to feel guilty and I'm not going to judge myself. I say, it's okay, it happened, all right.
And then you forgive yourself?
Yes.
If
I allow myself that.
Wow, I like that. That's freedom.
Yes.
I think
freedom.
I would define that as freedom.
Yeah.
But it wasn't easy too. The transition.
It wasn't easy.
Yes.
It's been 10 years in the making. When I did hypnotherapy, it was in 2015. And through all these years, I'm still discovering me. I'm still healing me. I'm still peeling layers within me. But each layer that I peel is bringing closer to me.
Yes.
Yes.
The real you.
The real you.
What is the place of consistency? Because in my case, sometimes I'll read a book, I'll be like, wow, yeah, this resonates. I feel this. I'm going to start to follow this. And I'll do that maybe for 3 weeks. And then, until the next thing comes up. And then I remember, oh, that book, let me go back. So to get to the level you are now has to have involved discipline and consistency?
Yes, but because I'm in touch with my inner self, I'm able to see when we are trying to change something. So we say the conscious mind is just 5 to 10%, but the experience that we have is below the surface, which is 90%. Now, if that controls us, our whole being, our discipline is not going to happen so much. So my practice in that way has been consistency in connecting back. So what has really, honestly, Catherine, helped me is meditation. And I also do hypnosis within myself, just, visualization or meditation and that has been consistent in keeping me in touch with me. So when I am changing a habit or creating that discipline, I am with it. That's why New Year resolutions don't work, because we are not in touch with where that powerful part is. And which is why you see when people want to change serious habits like smoking or alcohol, we need so much medical intervention. Yet smoking can be stopped if we stop what is in our subconscious mind. If we try to stop consciously, we will go to a certain length and we'll just give up. Because what is controlling us is our experience of that.
Something unhealed.
Yes. And so it will distract us somewhere. And so that consistency only comes from that inner practice.
Ooh. Tell me about some of the people, some case examples. Don't need to mention any names, but some case examples of how I hear how this has transformed your life. And just hearing what you said before, you could not just keep this to yourself. Obviously, you're drawn now to start to help other people. How did that start for you?
You mean helping people?
Yes.
And examples of how people have transformed?
Yes. At least I know one.
Yes, of course. Maybe I'll start with somebody who approached me, had tried other modalities, but something hadn't quite worked. And she had called me one day to ask me many questions, and like, why do you think I should come to you? And why do you think you'll be able to help me? And why do you think this is more powerful or, workable? Anyway, she turned up and we did a few sessions to resolve her emotional stress, because what she was going through was also an inner conflict, that she wanted to carry on a career, but she was not quite settled with it. And then I helped her understand where she is. Again, going back to childhood moments where her beliefs were controlling her behavior. And so as she settled with her emotions, she was able to be more grounded with her life and grounded with her career as well. Like, she was now clear that, okay, this is what I'm meant to do. And then there was one lingering thing that was just not going. Her deep fear. And what had happened through that fear was her cortisol levels were fluctuating physically. And the doctors had said that if this doesn't settle, she'll have to be on steroids. And she did not want to go on steroids. And then, of course, lifestyle change, diet change, she would have to change so much for her cortisol levels to balance.
What was the physical impact?
So cortisol levels are bad, because you're always going through some allergy or something is happening, like something is not settled. And then for that, she would have had to change diet, and she would have to be a lot disciplined with her weight, and everything was going on. And then with just therapy, hypnosis, nothing else, I just asked her to go back to the root cause of her deepest fear. And she found herself as, like, I think 4 or 5 year old. And she was holding her mom's hand, and she was in her grandmother's house. And they were watching some kids playing outside. And suddenly she felt that her grandmother was running past, but she brushed her mom. So this child was frightened that something will happen. My what she perceived as a child was that my grandmother has pushed my mom, which means she wants to harm my mom or something.
Okay.
But the grandmother wasn't interested in that. She was running outside because she had seen a snake.
Oh.
So the child, it's funny how children perceive. I'll talk to you about that.
Yeah.
So what she perceived was that my grandmother has brushed against my mom. My mom was almost about to fall and something would have happened to my mom. That was her deep fear. And then she's seeing the snake. Now this girl, were two things, my mom falling and a snake. So two things that frightened her so immensely. And you know, when we are in a state of fear, either we are going to run away or fight, because that is our innate
Fight or flight.
reptilian brain, and that keeps us out of danger and crisis, right? So she couldn't understand because this was so deeply repressed. The day we addressed it, Catherine, 3 weeks later, she calls me because she'd gone for tests and no cortisol levels. The clarity she got, the understanding she got, she was able to let that fear go.
So, wow, that is so powerful. So we live with these things, this brokenness that we have no understanding about, and we go on and be successful in our careers, etc. But there's always something that's affected. There's a part of our lives that's affected
Completely.
And we don't know. And at times people can assume that, oh, it's generational. My mom had it, my grandmother had it. Those generational. What do you call it?
We try to figure out.
A very special thank you to our partners and friends at Hello Tractor, based here in Nairobi, Kenya. Hello Tractor is an ag-tech company that connects farmers and tractor owners with access to mechanization and fleet management services. To learn more, get in touch by visiting their website at hellotractor.com or email them at hello@hellotractor.com.
But we don't know that our deep-seated emotions control us. I mean, I can give you another example, so simple, yet so powerful, that this guy came to me, and he, all his life, he's tried to figure out, he's never settled with anything. Like, the reason is he's shut down. The problem is he's shut down. Like, nothing works out in his life. And through a few sessions, it can't just happen in a go. We go back to a moment in his life where he was just about 6, 7 years old, and he must have gone out with his parents on an excursion to another town, and the parents wanted to go and meet their friends. So this boy goes that, let me just play around and you go and visit your visitors. Fine. He was left at somebody's house with the houseboy, and this little boy was playing. But as time went by, the parents did not come back in time. And the problem was that he was hungry. Now he's getting a bit frightened and insecure, unsafe, that my parents haven't come. They haven't come. Now what's going to happen to me? The problem wasn't that, he was hungry. And when children are hungry, they are hungry. And he really felt abandoned, that they have left me. And so when we did the therapy and we just, as I said, we looked from the adult space to what had actually happened to him, he recognized that he was very angry at his parents because they didn't come on time. He was hungry. He was not looked after. He just locked that in, that I'm never going to do anything after this. I'm abandoned. See the conclusions children draw. And this dictates the person's life. When you shut down, it means you're not even there. Mentally, you've disappeared.
Do all of these experiences happen in our childhood?
A lot of it.
Yeah?
Yes. In our formative years, from the time we were in a mother's womb to the time we are about 8 years old, because children do not have a filter. They absorb everything literally, and whatever they perceive is what becomes their reality. And so it's so important to be a good parent, because we also tell children, don't do this, don't do that. We are never saying it's okay. We are conditioning them. We are beating children. Children are traumatized, and these are the children that grow up into adults. So formative years actually do dictate who we become. These are the times we form our beliefs, strong beliefs. Yeah. And then when we grow into adults and we feel like, why isn't life working for us? And that's the reason.
Because something is blocked in there that needs to be released and let go.
Yeah. I mean, it happened to me.
Yeah.
So I was telling you that I lost two sisters. Before I lost my last born, my number 3 sister died when she was 7 months old. I was only 8 years old at that time. The problem was not her death. The problem was the grief that took over our family. My parents were very loving, and I was very connected and attached to my dad before that. And when my sister died, something suddenly changed with them. From a very loving father, he became a very angry father. And of course, that was grief. But I didn't understand, and I thought that I'm the one who's made a mistake. I'm the one at fault. I've done something really wrong, and that's why he's constantly angry at me, and nothing I do is good enough, which means I felt so unworthy and not good enough. And all my life growing up, I've tried to prove and be perfect. That almost became an obsession for me, and which is why when I told you things were not like, I did so much, and that was only in that attempt to make things right. Imagine the burden I carried and the weight I put on myself. The day I understood that, I was able to let it go. It was tough. Yeah.
So did you have to visit a hypnotherapist?
This was when I was learning hypnotherapy, and as we were practicing, I came to that. I came to that.
You needed
moment.
someone to help you.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I have unfolded a lot during hypnotherapy. And that actually sealed my belief in this work, that as we access this very powerful part of us, we can very much heal ourselves emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually as well, because I understood.
So, what does a hypnotherapy session look like? I heard you mention altered states.
Yes.
Belief becoming behavior.
Yes.
I've been picking those phrases from you. I know you can't go really deep, but just the basic, like what does a hypnotherapy, have you done hypnotherapy on your husband?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, is that so?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then he also enjoyed it so much that he learned it.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you were about to say, and he also now did it on you. So it's something you do as a couple. You've been very tense lately, you know.
Yeah.
Really?
So it's interesting. I mean, I used to have sleep issues. And so, yes, a couple of times he has done a nice hypnosis session on me.
Yeah.
And I've slept.
Oh, hypnosis. Okay.
Yes. So hypnotherapy is for therapy.
Okay.
And this therapy uses a technique of hypnosis.
Got it.
To get into the subconscious mind, to access the subconscious mind. So how do we access the subconscious mind? So hypnosis is like meditation or just a relaxed state. And it's a very natural state. I don't have to invoke it. It's already there, because we are anyway living in a hypnotized world. We are hypnotized so many times in a day. So it's not something we don't know.
Right.
So it's just a relaxed state so that we bypass this conscious mind and the filter of judgment. Because the filter of judgment, what we call our ego state or judgment, critical filter, it stops us because it wants to control everything. So the moment we are letting ourselves bypass that, we are accessing that very deep reservoir of the memories and the emotions that we hold within ourselves. So when you ask a hypnotherapy session, of course I would want to know from somebody what their issue is. Yeah. And then we plan the way forward. Because somebody doesn't come with one issue, they have multiple. So we plan how we're going to resolve. And sometimes there is a core issue, like say, I'm not good enough. So that core issue, to peel those layers, we go through a series of techniques, right? So just a typical session is I will take you into an altered state through relaxation, a visualization, and then take you back to excess. And remember, like I said, what is in the mind is in the body. Like say somebody feels emotional, they will definitely feel it in the body, like in the heart or the stomach, or somewhere there is pain or heaviness. We will access that and then understand where did this all come from. So it's a guided way. I don't put somebody to sleep and then I'm suggesting, no, because I want to access where did it all come from, what happened to you. The event has passed, so it cannot hold that intensity, but we're just going back to visit it so that we can heal it, we can resolve it.
So it's a conversation like this.
Yes, but when the person is in an altered state, they are hyper suggestible, meaning they are more aware of everything in and around them rather than going to sleep. There are many forms of hypnotherapy. Some people do suggestive therapy, which also sometimes I do, like if needed, but I do more of the interactive. So I take somebody into an altered state, like if you came to me, I would nicely relax you.
I see myself coming to you very soon.
And then, of course, with techniques, I will guide you through this to the subconscious mind, and we figure out what exactly is happening to you. Where did it all start? And true enough, people go there.
Wow.
Because the memories are there.
Yeah.
It's just that it's a file that's forgotten. Because we don't need it in that moment. But this file is triggering and controlling our lives.
So what is the minimum amount of time one session can take? A very special thank you to our partners and friends at Nulink. Nulink is working to provide renewable energy solution and products. It covers a wide range of products, including solar panels, inverters, battery packs, storage cabinets, charging piles, and EV charger. For more details, please contact them at chris@nulinkhk.com. So what is the minimum amount of time one session can take?
Between 1 to 2 hours or even more.
Wow. That's amazing. And it has to be a series of them, because then you identify, you heal, and you teach them and you show them how to.
And so we are made up of so much, like from the time we are born to the time we are today's age, there are so many experiences, right? Some are a makeup of many, a core. Some are just individuals. So as we peel each layer, we are actually understanding the depth of us, because we really don't know ourselves. So it's a beautiful, beautiful therapy. I love it so much that I still continue doing it.
For you. There's something you said that really clicked for me. When you get into this, Zen state, and the key is to pass that critical filter, that clicked, because I think we criticize ourselves more than the world criticizes us, and wanting to live up to expectations that we put on ourselves without knowing, and the world can only reflect that. I've always found that connection. I mean, I'm not as deep as you are, like, this is your journey, but I've always found that if I think this about myself, in maybe 48, 72 hours, someone will either write to me something about it. I'm like, then it becomes, you see, I was right. And then now, as I've started to read this, I'm like, no, but how you feel and think about yourself, it's almost as though you're giving the people, the universe, permission to. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, literally,
Yes.
And so imagine, Catherine, that when we are children, and children are children. I mean, they'll do all sorts of things and they are mischievous or whatever. But parents have their own issues, right? Their own background and whatever they're bringing, their patterns. I have actually helped people, which I can tell you a little bit. But going back to the mother's womb, because my mom has so many emotions, and me being a baby, I don't have any filter. I'm just a clean slate. I'm so connected to her that I take in all her emotions. Now I'm born, and I'm born with those patterns of my mom, the emotions. And then growing up, my mom or my father has their own issues, and if I've done something and I get a whack, what is the message you are giving to the child? I'm not good when I do this. So this is the self-criticism and judgment that keeps building up, because the child can only perceive at that level. And so from then on, this is what will trigger. Because I have concluded I'm not good enough, which means I have to cope with that. Do I like being not good enough? So I have to overcome it. How do I overcome it? By being a good person, or by being a good child, and I'll be so obedient, and I'll do everything right. Now I will become a people pleaser. And that in turn will hurt me, because people out there are not going to be very kind. They will be judgmental. They will do things, and then it hurts me more that I did this, but why are they not responding to me the way I want them to? And so we are just a series of that. And that impact will be huge on us. At a later date, when we grow up, it is all manifesting in our body. So emotions are energy in motion, but emotions take a space in our body. Like I said, when we go to sleep, we do not resolve it. It will find a space in our body, and that will keep manifesting. I help so many people with physical issues because of that. Like I explained that example of fear. People with digestive issues, again, what are they not digesting? Because there is always a metaphysical reason for what has happened to my body. Mine was again inner conflict. My migraines were just internal conflict. I wanted to do this, I couldn't do this, so I'm always fighting with myself. Migraines. My spine is my skeletal system. It grounds me, it holds me. If that has been affected, it already tells me that I'm not grounded. I'm not present with myself. And the moment I started healing that, this is when the physical body changed. We talk of heart issues, we talk of cancer so rife today. So many people are going through autoimmune diseases. What's happening to them? A lot of emotional stress. And it goes back to childhood issues. I don't do hypnobirthing and things like that, but I help mothers connect to their babies. If they should approach me, I do that.
When they're
expecting the children. And I've had a few cases and amazing deliveries.
Wow.
And then the children who are born, because the mother is so connected to the child, are confident, happy children, which is not normally what we see. And one has actually given a testimony on video as well of how I'd helped her. Beautiful. She was in her 7th month when she came to see me, when she heard about me being a hypnotherapist, and she said, let me try it. And she only came for a couple of sessions. She didn't do more. And then I gave her a recording to listen to until the end term. And she did that. And she was 4 centimeters dilated. She was still working. Slight discomfort, and she went to the doctor. And doctor said, from here straight to the hospital, because you're dilated. You cannot be working.
And she was not in pain.
Believe it or not, she was not in pain. And she sat there in the labor room. She's watching TV because there's no pain. And the nurses were baffled, like, what's wrong with this person? She went to the cafeteria, she had chips, she came back. And nothing. It's only in the last 30 minutes or so when she had to push the baby out, there was discomfort. But this baby that's born and is almost 8-9 years now, this child is the ruler of the home. Like, he is so confident. You cannot tell that child anything. Meaning, he has come with a mind. He is so secure. This is the power.
What was on the recording you gave her?
Just a visualization to connect to the baby.
Which you recorded yourself. Yes. Wow, that's powerful.
Just to connect to the baby, that you're safe and I love you so much. I'm looking forward to you being born. Because babies don't hear that. Mom is emotionally entangled while she's expecting. And this is what normally happens. We are bringing our baby to feel the same thing. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
So,
how can people reach you? Before you tell us,
yes.
What's a Reiki Master? It was in your.
So Reiki
yes.
is a healing modality where we heal the chakras, what we say the energy vortices, because what we say is the interface between the universal energy and the physical body. So when we heal those, we are unblocking what is the block,
Okay.
the emotional block.
Yes.
And so Reiki is, in a way, a powerful modality.
Yeah.
I learned that before I learned hypnotherapy.
Okay.
But when I learned hypnotherapy, when I resolved emotions, of course, my chakras were also getting resolved.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a type of a modality. It's a type of healing as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's Reiki, there's hypnotherapy, there's metaphysical
anatomy. So what is metaphysical anatomy? Again, is how we understand trauma and how the trauma is stored in our body, and through techniques we can resolve that.
I see.
Yeah. So it's understanding where does our trauma begin from. Sometimes we carry trauma. It's not only in this life. It's in our DNA. When we talk of our ancestors, we are carrying trauma. We don't know what our ancestors have gone through, but we are part of their bloodline, their lineage. And so in our DNA, we are flowing with that. So we can go to the root cause to heal that, which means we are freeing ourselves from that bondage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A very special thank you to our partners and friends at Nulink. Nulink is working to provide renewable energy solution and products. It covers a wide range of products, including solar panels, inverters, battery packs, storage cabinets, charging piles, and EV charger. For more details, please contact them at chris@nulinkhk.com.
So this subconscious mind is not only what we think on the surface, there's a lot of depth to it. It is what controls us in this life and beyond. This is part of our whole spiritual journey. This is who we are.
Is that why I've read scientists who say human beings are not even utilizing 5%?
Exactly.
For real.
Yeah. Today, people like Bruce Lipton, Joe Dispenza, Greg Braden, they are famous personalities who talk about consciousness now, who talk about our genetic imprint, and who talk about how we are part of that greater universe. Today, in America, our institution is called EKA, E-K-A-A, and it's an abbreviation. In US, in California, they now have this curriculum in mainstream university.
The EKAA?
Yes, the hypnotherapy
curriculum. Yeah, I saw that in your profile.
Yes.
I think it's the first thing I read.
Yeah.
Where is it? Integrated, okay, EKA, I've seen it. It's actually the first thing on your profile.
Yes.
Wow.
And so now they are wanting also to do research on cancer, how emotions affect cancer. So they have the permission to do it now. So of course, it's a global thing.
Yeah.
But it's so powerful.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And for me, because I healed and today I have turned around, and I cannot say more than that I am a living proof of what this has done to me.
Yes. And to the relationships that you have. So the relationship challenges we find, what do you call them? Attachment styles. I heard you mention abandonment, but that was in relation to this child, this boy who, couldn't hold on to anything. Trauma bonds, things like that. I've never understood what a trauma bond is, by the way, between two people. What is it?
For me, in my very simple understanding, this trauma we go through, of course, stops us from being ourselves, which means our relationships, how we are also entering relationships is through the emotional state. If I'm feeling rejected, what will my relationship be like with another person? Because If I don't want to be rejected, what will I do? I will be clingy, needy.
Yeah.
Now, what will my relationship be with the outside world, with people, my friends, or my partner, or my anything? So it again goes back to our emotional state, and that creates our attachment styles.
Yeah.
So we have people, like if somebody doesn't want to be abandoned, they will, again, what will they do? Somebody who feels judged will withdraw and will always be skeptic or critical, or, like gauge, or, are not open. And so we stop ourselves from being, from living. So it all goes back to how our perception is, how we feel, and what we do.
Yeah.
How we are showing ourselves in the world,
Yes.
and how the world is receiving us. Yeah.
So that statement I read all the time, you attract who you are,
Exactly.
is true.
So who are you? Are you an emotion? Are you just made up of your emotions?
Yeah.
Are you made up of your conclusions and what you've decided, how you decided to cope?
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, this is so intense, eh?
Yeah.
But I love it. I love it.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I say I've turned around who I was. I don't recognize that person.
No.
Today I am very different.
Yes. So the year is really fresh right now. There's a lot of excitement, as it happens with a new year. Going into 2025, with all the hopes, expectations that people have, it may be important for them to first define who am I, because then we find ourselves at the start of 2026 just with the same, if we don't do the work, right?
Things are not going well. Challenges are there. Economy is not fine. Like we are facing a lot. The digital world is there to bombard us with so much right, wrong, we don't know.
Yeah.
And so we are so ingrained in that fear that what's going to happen, what's going to happen, what's going to happen. It's not easy for people to even step into a new year. We try to. And my message would be that first hold yourself, understand yourself, rather than creating that collective consciousness of fear. And then we are only flowing in that fear. So understand yourself. What are you doing? Why are you doing? What can you then do if this is not you? And then step into a zone or a reality which helps you define the outside after that. Because if I say today that my New Year resolution will be that I'm going to exercise and I'm going to become fitter and better, okay, what is driving me there? Then I go into it 1 month and then say, I'm tired. I can't do this. My body is tired. I can't cope with life. Where is all this coming from? So it's literally going back inside, going back within, going back to understand you. Are you authentic? Are you the person you were meant to be? Do you recognize you? So not letting the outside affect and dictate who we become, rather recognize, go within and who we are.
So as we start the year, do you know you?
Yeah.
Do you recognize you? I like it.
And if you don't, do you want to do something about it?
And if they want to do something about it with you, how do we reach you? I know I will definitely reach you. Yeah, you get to a point in life where you're like, okay, you've watched enough podcasts, you've read enough books, you have practiced some things, but then it helps when you have this resource, we're in the same city of Nairobi.
Yeah.
So why should it hurt for me to just take a risk, and you never know, right? Yeah, at least I plan to. Anyway, how can we reach you?
So I have a space, healing space, which I call Soul Sanctuary. And my healing space is in 2nd Parklands. And yes, you're welcome to call me and book an appointment. And I'm not the only one now. I have students who also practice because I train. I train people on hypnotherapy. I train people on just mindset change. I train people on understanding themselves.
Yeah.
So I do small talks, I do small trainings.
Yeah.
And if people invite me, I will, of course, create that awareness.
Yes.
But yes, I have a healing space called Soul Sanctuary.
Yes.
And yeah, most welcome to call me to book an appointment to come and see me there.
So what's the number or email address they should use?
So I have an email address called kinnerip10@gmail.com. Maybe Catherine, you can share it.
Yeah, yes.
And my number is there, 0733 995822. So you can reach me on that number or email me.
Yeah.
And then we can take it from there.
Kinneri Parekh, I'm so happy that you came here today. Thank you for coming. And you look wonderful. 35 years married.
Pleasure.
I was waiting for you to put that in there.
Yes, it hasn't been void of challenges, but today where I am, definitely, I'm at peace.
You're at peace. It shows on you. Yeah. It shows that peace, that welcoming aura. See me trying to speak your language.
Thank you.
It shows on you.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that you came here today.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you for your invite. And I'm happy to share whatever I can in my own little way.
It's wonderful. Thank you. And for you who's been following this conversation on whichever streaming platform, thank you so much. We look forward to your feedback. If you have any questions for Kinneri Parekh, her email and her contacts is running now on screen. And in case you missed that, you can always just go back to the video and just watch again. It's a conversation. It's a conversation worth watching. Do you know you? And do you recognize you? It's a big question. Thank you once again. This is What's Your Story Africa, and I'm grateful that you trust us with your stories.